The podcast that floats down here.
Hello and welcome back to the podcast that floats down here. I am Melissa and I'm your host for this particular episode. I am joined with our fanboy.
Hey, I'm Ben.
And our first-time reader.
Hi, it's Luke.
We are still discussing Chapter 3, 6 Phone Calls, 1985. And today we will be discussing Section 4, Eddie Kaspbrak Takes His Medicine. Luke, tell us what's up with Eddie.
We meet Eddie as he is examining his extensive collection in the medicine cabinet, including some heavy-hitting medicines like his Valium, Percodan, Elavil, Darvon, and Quaaludes. Eddie begins tossing this collection into his tote bag.
He decides that his best option is to just keep moving before any realization could set in about his current situation. He is met outside the bathroom by his extremely large wife, Myra, and informs her that he is going away for a while, and she will have to provide the chauffeuring duties for Al Pacino and Eddie's steed. Myra panics while Eddie begins packing his clothes and shoes. Eddie is planning to take a train from his home in New York and switch to driving a Cadillac limo in Boston for the remainder of his journey to Derry. While Eddie grabs and uses his asthma inhaler, we learn of his overbearing mother. His mother had screamed at the gym teacher about young Eddie's delicacies, while disregarding the teacher's insistence that nothing was physically wrong with the boy. Mrs. Kaspbrak was enormous, and it was quite evident that Myra was nearly a carbon copy of his mother. Myra pleaded, with tears in her eyes, for Eddie to let her know what was happening. He does not enjoy shouting at her to settle her down, causing him to feel like he might as well punch her around. Which reminds him of being punched around by Henry Bowers as a kid. He eases her anxiety about driving Al Pacino the next day. Eddie had received his phone call from Mike Hanlon describing how it has started again, and will you come? Myra asks him about it, right as Eddie's cab pulls up to the house, allowing him to sidestep the difficult conversation and self-realization about the memories which were ready to emerge. He lets her know that he has no choice and must go, reassuring her as well as he can. He gets a hug and a kiss from her, but not before remembering an embarrassing incident with his mother at a shoe store. He leaves, running to the cab. Hours later on the train, Eddie wakes from a dream about a dead boy from his childhood and apprehensively revels in the fact that he is remembering the summer of 1958 and realizes that the train is not traveling along the map. It is traveling along Eddie's personal timeline to the past.
Benji, go ahead and tell us, what are your feelings on Eddie?
God, Eddie's wife is insufferable.
Oh God, right?
I mean, and in turn means his own mother would have been the same way. So, just by his own description of he married his mother, it's one of those of, oh my lord, I don't know how he hasn't killed her. And if you're an audiobooker like myself or Luke, I don't know if his version is as annoying as mine, but oh my god. Eddie, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's like, oh my god. Okay, so I literally, that's the first chapter or first section, I've had to take the earbuds out and just read, because I literally want to throw my phone across the room. I can't drive Al Pacino. I'll smash into a stop sign or something. I know I will, Eddie. I'm so scared. God,
Now,
I want to punch you right now.
That's what mine sounds like.
That's mine too, yeah.
Oh, man.
Realize, like, you guys are giving me a headache.
I know.
Stop.
I know, that's
just ridiculous.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so, but...
I'm so scared.
My thinking is now, imagine being the kid who grows up with that.
Yeah.
And then marries that.
Yeah.
By choice.
Well, it really
Almost
wasn't
not
by
by
choice.
yeah.
It was by force and by guilt.
I don't like to use foul language other than a few choice words that pepper my vocabulary most of the time. But there's a lot of words I won't use. But I'm going to use one.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
Yes,
Woo,
and I'm the one that was told not to cuss. So
Here we go. Eddie is a fucking pussy. If he,
I would describe his mother and wife
he
as
needs
without
to
a
like
word.
grow some balls and be a man. And I'm like a pretty strong feminist over here. Be a man. Say no once in a
Yeah.
while.
One thing, going to my next note really quick, Eddie is definitely the poster boy for Munchausen by proxy, being
Yes,
raised by,
absolutely.
and so by that, that's why he's fallen into Myra's trap, because that's all he knew was
I'm not familiar with
Munchausen by proxy is basically, Munchausen syndrome is when you try to convince other people you're sick to get sympathy and everything like that. Munchausen by proxy is you focus that on someone else, like a child or
Gotcha. Okay.
something like that. So
It's what's the other term for it? It's
hypochondriac.
yes, hypochondriac.
Hypochondriac.
But
yeah.
it's more like, instead of being a hypochondriac, you just think things are wrong. Munchkin's disease is when you actually create problems so that you really are sick,
Sure.
or you like do something to your kid to make them be sick so that you feel useful, that I'm going to take care of you because you're sick, and if you're not sick I have to make you sick so that I can take care of you more.
Sure.
And-
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't know if his wife, whose name I choose not to remember,
Myra.
Thank you. No, I'm choosing not to remember. I don't know if his wife does that as much. It seems like his mom does.
Yes, his mother did it and instilled in him to where you look at the medicine cabinet. You look at the fucking medicine cabinet.
It's ingrained in him.
It's ingrained in him. Like, there's how many medicines? I mean, Jesus.
I have 5 people living in my house, and we have a plethora of doctors, and we don't have that much medicine.
Yeah, I mean, now one note I have on here, having
Sorry.
Yeah.
On that, I do think that she does that. Myra does that to him as well, because at the end, when he's finally walking out the door, she's just going on and on about, "I'll take care of you. You're gonna get sick." Like, she does the exact same things that we see his mother doing to him earlier on as well in the flashbacks.
I don't know if she's purposely making him sick, and I don't know if his mother purposely made him sick, but I think his mother, because he even says, like, his mother used it as a weapon,
yes,
and his wife just did it. Hers wasn't as
vindictive
manipulative.
or yeah,
Mom's was manipulative. She used it against him, and Myra just does it because that's who she is.
exactly.
Maybe.
Yeah. She's a whiny.
She is slightly more likable than the mother,
Yes,
but it's a relative term.
yes.
Slightly. I'll agree to that.
No, definitely. And one quick note I had, having Quaaludes mentioned, it's pretty interesting since basically the company that made them hasn't been around since like 91, and so that's definitely a dated drug and all that. The only reason I actually know about them is because of Wolf of Wall Street.
I've read a lot of Stephen King. Quaaludes show up a lot.
Well, yeah, but former police officer even, and never knew about that crap. So
I will say, speaking of medicine, I really liked the analogy of poop as mail delivery. So, like,
Oh, yeah,
certain
yeah,
things
to keep the mail moving.
certain things to keep the mail from coming too quickly, like moving the mail.
And to fix it if it does come too quickly, or
If you're going to talk about pooping, I like thinking of it as a mail delivery system.
yeah.
Okay, so my other thought about the medicine cabinet, he could have been a Boy Scout
Oh yeah.
with his be prepared with that crap ton of medicine that he has. My last thought about the medicine cabinet that goes right along with it is, for once, I'm kind of glad the character doesn't have kids. Because, man, if he had teenagers, they would be higher than fuck. They would never need a dealer.
no, they got parents.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take some of Dad's uppers and downers and...
Side deciders.
He is not my favorite, guys.
No.
He does have asthma, so I can relate to that. A little bit different than his. His is definitely like it takes over your whole life type asthma. Mine's more of just like, it's just a pain in the ass. Well, not literally, but it's a pain in the figurative ass.
My next thought on it is we get another Henry Bowers reference for the third section in a row. I'm thinking this guy might be a little important. It's going to be kind of interesting to see how he plays into everything. I know we talked about him last episode with Ben carving the H into him and all that, but it's going to be very interesting to see if he shows up in adulthood or what, because I kind of want to know what this nut job's up to.
I just think it's interesting he made it out of the house.
Yes, I will give him full credit that he did it. He was like, I'm gone.
He doesn't get full credit. He gets half-assed credit.
Okay, fine.
Because,
but in that situation, it still takes a good amount to get half-assed credit, because when you have that guilt, being poured on top of you, you're giving this look. But as a married man, you get that call, or you get that, what are you doing? What's going on? You gotta be home soon. You gotta be it takes a lot to.
But there is a difference between, and I am a nagging wife. I can say that. I will.
We know.
We're aware.
I also get it.
Yeah.
Like tonight, I came home from a thing, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go do a podcast with my brothers, and he's like, you are.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you sure? So I get as good as I give, but the difference is like he's such a pansy.
Well, yeah.
Like he's always been a pansy, and so it's so great that he finally did something. But like, I almost don't care. I would rather Stan have made it. Man, I'm really hating on Eddie. Sorry, Eddie. I'm glad you showed up. I mean, I'm glad you left.
So I thought that when he actually did, walk out of the bathroom, he was like, so he was walking straight towards her, and it wasn't until the last second that she got out of the way. He didn't think she was like. He was like, I'm not gonna win this fight. You know what I mean? Because
I'm dropping the shoulder, bitch.
Yeah, I mean, she was like, he was saying that she's several inches taller than him and a couple 100 pounds more. So like, when it comes down to it, if she didn't want him to leave that bathroom, he wasn't going to leave that bathroom.
He was going to bounce off.
Yeah, bounce off her boobs is what it said. Melissa's trying her best not to just crack up into the microphone. But
I can picture it like this little guy. Into the medicine cabinet, bottles go flying.
It's like walking into a giant weeble wobble. Because he'd be the one that fell down. But she does get out of the way.
Yes.
And I don't know.
And that's the thing, his mother wouldn't.
I agree. No. I agree.
And so there is the difference there.
I thought that was an interesting dichotomy between the two, is if he actually does push on his wife, she gives in. He's not used to that, so that's why he never plays that card, because he grew up not having that card to play. Because it sounds like his mother just took that option away from him. That was never going to work, because she decides it's not going to work. And
I also think, and this is going to be completely against everything I've said about Eddie, I actually think he might be the stronger one in the relationship, because she takes care of him and she cuddles him and she does this, but I think he lets her.
Oh yeah,
because she's so fragile.
Absolutely. That comes with the kind of with the guilt thing. Like, he doesn't want to go against that because she can't handle that. Like, she can't handle him not appeasing everything. That's not something that she knows how to deal with, and he knows that better than anybody. So that's why he doesn't do these things, because right away he's like, oh, like he kind of shouted at her to be, to tell her to calm down. And he's like, well, I might as well just punch her around at this point for how bad it makes him feel and how hurt she is just from him doing that. Like, she is so unstable that he has the guilt for even standing up for himself, which, he's been trained to do, but it's also every single thing he does that even resembles him standing up for himself gets shoved back down his throat in a, you hurt me by doing this way. Exactly. And that's not fair to him. There's no chance for him to grow from that in his situation. But he finally kind of has to get out, at least.
All right. So I have two more thoughts. My first thought is, man, they really do all have money, because even Eddie's got money. Mm-hmm. Do you think they'll, I just kept reading going, man, are they all going to have money? I remember that the first time, dude, this guy's got money. Dude, this guy's money. Then it was like, Ben. Ooh, Ben's got money. And then it was like, Eddie. Okay, well, he doesn't have Ben's money. He's got money.
Yeah. And Ferris, he's got the job I would want the most, I think. He's got the...
Dude, no.
See, I love to drive. You put me behind the wheel of a car. Yeah, put me behind the wheel of a car. So, yeah, that would be that one. That one or Richie's, but...
I'd probably be Stan.
Yeah.
The accountant.
Mm-hmm. Math.
We already know yours.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably be Ben.
But not that Ben.
Not quite as cool. Not quite as either. Not quite as world famous yet. I did notice, along with, he's got a little bit of money, he also seems to have, I'm going to use this again, lucked into the type of position that he has regular run-ins with world famous celebrities. Like another real high profile thing in a little bit different the way that we've seen before. But it's closer to Stan's, where he's working with these people that are very, very, insanely rich and insanely well known. It's just another one of those options that we see where we're not too far. Another character that's not too far from, he knows the people that are players.
And think about it, he's a limo driver in New York City. Like, how many hundreds of limo companies are there, and yet Pacino picks his?
Exactly.
Right.
All right.
All right, so my last final thought before we move on is that each time a character leaves, and we actually, see him leaving, the amount of days they're going to be gone increases. Like, Stan doesn't have anything, but Richie first tells the dairy home 3 days with an option to extend.
Yeah.
Eddie tells his wife that he's going to be gone a week or 10 days.
Yeah, 7.
So it goes from a weekend trip to a week-ish long project. It's growing.
But Ben pretty much says, I might be gone forever. I don't know if I'm coming back.
Yeah, I think he also hinted he may come back.
He just says, I don't know.
Yeah, but I think he also kind of hinted he wants to come back next Saturday, so a week.
That's what I'm saying. I'd like to be back. It just, every time there's a definite plan.
Yes.
Ben didn't really have a plan. Ben was just making it through. But each time there's somebody who has to talk about a plan, the time gets bigger.
I didn't catch that. That's interesting.
All right. So we're going to wrap up our section here with our introduction to the Losers Club. So, Benji, why does Eddie earn his membership to the Losers Club?
Well, as Melissa so delicately put it, he's a pussy, but he's a sickly mama's boy that basically gets put on the spot by his mother, or not put on the spot, but just is held down and everything, literally and figuratively, by his mother's overbearingness. And basically the only way he can get out anywhere is to join this club, even though it may be against her wishes.
Thanks for listening. Join us when we talk about Section 5.
Beverly Rogan takes a whooping.
Until then, stay imaginary. Thanks.